Hey, welcome back to Common Knowledge. It's time to take a look at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards, tell you if they're any good in the Pauper format or not. We'll start off with our first card of the day, and it's Bloodright Invoker. Have we done this Invoker before? We've done a handful of these Invokers. I feel like we have done this one, so I guess I'll give you a bonus one. But this one's pretty good. 2 and a black for a 3/1 Vampire Shaman. You can pay 8. Target player loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. So that is, if you have infinite mana, that is infinite drain. And that's pretty good at instant speed. But is this the one? Is this the one to play? Maybe. You know, this or the red one are probably the two best ones because they can, if they get on the board, if you get the infinite mana, you can now win on the spot. Whereas the green one needs to, pump up a creature and still do an attack step, and that gives you more points of failure, whereas this one is better in that way. So I'll give it, I don't really actually see anybody use these combos, at least not in Pauper. You'll see it in Commander every once in a while. But from a Pauper perspective, I think we can give this like a 4.1. If I think I have done this one before. I wonder if 4.1 is what I gave it the last time. I might have given it a little bit higher. We'll see. Nature's Kiss is 1 and a green for an enchantment aura that enchants a creature. You can pay 1 to exile the top card of your graveyard. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. All right, this is from Weatherlight, and you can tell it's old because it's talking about the top of your graveyard. These are interesting in that these days you can kind of shuffle your graveyard around and it doesn't really matter, unless you're playing one of these cards, and then you can't. You're not allowed to, because now you can potentially manipulate that, and that would be bad. This one's not as bad as, or this one's not as necessary as for some of the other ones that care about, like, if you have a creature card at the top of your graveyard, then do something with it. This one just wants you to keep exiling cards off the graveyard. But, some players find it a little annoying that they have to keep their graveyards ordered, especially if you're a graveyard deck that's doing dredge stuff or something, and you're, constantly taking stuff out, or you have flashback cards and you're constantly taking those cards out of your graveyard to do stuff with them. Sometimes it can just be a pain to keep those together. So, for the most part, none of these cards are incredible. So I think a lot of people, just in a similar way to day-night, or day-bound, night-bound, just go, I don't want to play any of those cards. I don't want to overcomplicate the rules if I don't have to. In the same way that a lot of people don't play banding. That is just like, I don't really want to deal with that, so we don't. This isn't terrible. It's not good. It's not good. 2 mana to get it down. It does nothing when it comes into play. It doesn't give any sort of bonus. It'd be nice if it gave trample at least, and then you could start pumping it any of the turns that you wanted to. This is a pretty cheap ability to get a decent little pump out of it. I don't mind that. There's potentially leaves the graveyard shenanigans you can do with this as well. But overall, it's not a particularly great package, and you'll really feel bad about playing this enchantment, or like casting this enchantment, because the turn it comes in, it does. It doesn't. It's not that it does nothing, because you can activate it the turn it comes in, but now you have to have a whole lot more mana. I don't know. I don't particularly like it. I don't have a deck in mind that would even care about it. So I think this is not particularly good, and I will give it a 2.1. Yeah, it's really not that good. Broadcast Rambler is 4 and a white for a 5/4 artifact vehicle. When this vehicle enters, you create a 1/1 white color. Or not white. Wow, man, I'm screwing up all over the place. Let's try this one again. Broadcast Rambler is 4 and a white for a 5/4 artifact vehicle. When this vehicle enters, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying, and it crews for 1. That's cute. It's cute that it gives you the thing that will do enough to crew it. It gives you an option of, hey, I have a 1/1 flyer, but I can also turn this 1/1 flyer into a 5/4 beater. That's pretty good. You might also have some other cards that would be other creatures that might want to crew this instead, and now you can swing them with both the vehicle and the Thopter. There you go. That's a thought. It's not particularly great. 5 mana for this. It's 4 for 5 isn't awful stats, but again, this is a vehicle, so you do have to keep paying some kind of crew cost each time to keep this as a creature. Vehicles are interesting. I don't think this one is particularly good. Probably was okay in limited. I did not play Ether Drift limited. That did not sound like fun to me. Although I think that set has some pretty good cards in it. I will give this thing a 2.0. 2.0. I'll just give it a 2. Goblin Warstrike, single red mana for a sorcery. Goblin Warstrike deals damage to target player or planeswalker equal to the number of goblins you control. I have this Portal Second Age version, and I love the art on this card. This is some good stuff. The Scourge art is fine. I don't mind that either, but I really like the Portal Second Age art. This is a decently expensive little card, and it's probably Commander. That's probably the reason why you can make a ton of goblins with Krenko or something, and now you've got a spell that just burns the opponent for a single mana. That's pretty good. Don't get me wrong, that's pretty good. In Pauper, not as good. I think we just have more efficient burn. We don't have to play goblins in mono red anymore. You'll play some. There will be some that are important, but you don't have to play a full aggressive goblin, go wide deck, and then have something like this as a finisher, because you can just have so much good burn already with lightning bolts and grab the prize into sneaky snackers and all the madness cards too. So if goblins came back, I think this would end up being a card that would be played again. But until goblins comes back, and I don't see a reason right now why it would, unless we got some bans or got some really good goblin cards that would completely change the face of the meta right now. I think overall Goblin Warstrike is probably just going to stay as a good card that might be more like a niche, tier 3, tier 4 goblin deck that's hanging around in the meta. But yeah, I still want to give it some props. It is a good card. It's been a good card ever since it's been out, and the more goblins that are out there, the more goblin decks that get made. This seems like a good card for it. Wild that this was not included in the secret lair, the goblin secret lair that just came out that nobody could get a hold of, because secret lair, Score wise, I'm gonna go ahead and slap like a 4.6. This is so close to being playable. Again, just if that goblin deck really ever returns to Pauper, I think this goes in it immediately, and you feel good about it. But it's not, so we don't. Cinder Hellion is 4 and a red for a 4/4 Hellion with trample, and when this creature enters, it deals 2 damage to target opponent or planeswalker. So just opponent for our purposes. 5 mana 4/4 with trample, does a couple damage. I think it's just too normal for our purposes. Probably would have been fine in limited, but outside of it, I think this is just a pretty regular Magic card, and we can give it a 2.5 and go to a next one. Law Rune Enforcer is a single white mana for a 1/2 human soldier. You can pay 1 and tap it to tap target creature with mana value 2 or greater. Ooh, okay. I feel like we usually see these. We've talked about tappers, I don't know, in the last week or two. We've had a couple of them show up on the channel here, and I feel like most of the tappers that I see that have conditions will want you to be able to tap smaller guys. That you can tap a guy, mana value 3 or less, or power 3 or less, or something like that. And those you don't really like because they don't prevent the most amount of damage that you'd want to prevent. You want to prevent the big guys from coming in. So this guy does prevent the big guys from coming in. It's pretty easy to mana value 2 or greater gives you so many options. It's really just tokens and 1-drops that you have to worry about. And there's certainly plenty of those in Pauper, but I think you're getting the majority of the big threats with a card like this. Now, is it enough to see play in any of those decks? Not really. None of the tappers really are. The best one is the Elite Interceptor, which just came out in Secrets of Strixhaven, and that's the tapping is nice, but the tapping is not really the reason you play that. It's kind of the drawn card. It's kind of just the Inspector style thing on it. I like this though. Do I like it? I don't think I like it better than Master Decoy still. That's still one I just love. The one we had last week was pretty good. I forgot the name of it, but it was pretty good too. This is okay though. I don't mind this. I will happily give this thing a 3.2, and I can even go higher than that. I'll give it a 3.4. How about that? Next is Grizzled Wolverine from Ice Age, and only from Ice Age. So is this really bad? It's 9 cents, so it's probably really bad. Let's read it. 1 in double red for a 2/2 Wolverine. You can pay a red, and this creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Activate only during the declare blockers step. Only if at least one creature is blocking this creature, and only once each turn. Okay. So you can't use that on defense then, because the declare blockers step, that happens on both turns, obviously. But it has to be only if at least one creature is blocking this creature. So it has to be attacking. I'm pretty sure the reason this hasn't seen any reprints is it's templated very weirdly. And is this the same exact text? Not exactly the same text, but pretty, relatively similar. This isn't very good. A 3-mana 2/2, and if it gets blocked, you can turn it into a 3-mana 4/2. So it just trades a little better, I suppose. But that's a really bad Dragon Breath, and only once each turn. So you can't even use this to like really pump the guy and take out a difficult blocker. Yeah, this isn't really good at all, is it? We'll go for a 1.7. I like the art, though. Basilica Shepherd is 3 in double white for a 3/3 Phyrexian Angel with flying. When this creature enters, create 2 1/1 Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with a toxic one, and this creature can't block. That's what the Phyrexian Mights do. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer is okay, but you are getting 2 more little 1/1 guys. And yeah, they can't block, but I guess they have the toxic. I don't really care about the toxic too much, and I doubt many people do in this format in Pauper here, because if you're trying to poison them out, you can poison them out so much better in other ways. So these are kind of just another couple bodies that you get. Now, you could blink this, and now you're getting a lot more bodies. Maybe you do get the corruption if you're trying to play corruption cards, and you can get them to 3 poison counters, maybe pretty easy at that point, if you can make a big army of those mites. But I think overall, it's a 5-mana 3/3 flyer, and that's kind of not good enough. I like the art. I really like this Elish Norn style of Phyrexians. From the All Will Be One stuff. I think that's just a really rad look. One of my favorite villains from Magic history. And let's go for a 2.4. Yeah, 2.4. Blunt the Assault, 3 and a green for an instant. You gain 1 life for each creature on the battlefield. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. 4 mana for a fog is crazy. That's a ridiculous amount of mana to pay for a fog effect. We have so many good, efficient fog effects in the format, and even so, we still only have one deck that really uses fog effects. But the life gain and the fog is all right, but it just costs too much, and that's just the be all end all right there. I think we can go with a 1.8. Yeah, if you're paying this much for a fog, you're really not doing a great job. Wooded Ridgeline, we've done these lands before. They're awesome. We see them all the time. They are the ones that you go grab with the with any of your Lord of the Rings land cycler guys. These are just some of the best, along with the Kaldheim snow duels too. They're both great, but we've done them, and they're awesome. They're like 9s or even higher than 9s. Displace 2 and a blue for an instant. Exile up to 2 target creatures you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. This would be a great card, except we have Ghostly Flicker, and Ghostly Flicker is better. Yep, can do artifacts, creatures, or lands, and you return them. So, hey, this is a great card. This is a Pauper All-Star. You'll see this in a handful of different decks. So, oh, I remember that Secret Lair one now. And so Displace is fine, but you really don't need more than 4 copies of Ghostly Flicker in your deck, and this just ends up not being good enough. Good card, just not good enough. So we can go with a 3 and move along to Desert Sandstorm from Portal 3 Kingdoms. 2 and a red for a sorcery. Desert Sandstorm deals 1 damage to each creature. That's kind of fine. 3 mana is bad, but like the effect itself, divorce it from the mana for a second. The effect itself is fine. We see other effects that do similar things. In fact, you take the desert off and you just call it Sandstorm, and deals 1 damage to each attacking creature. That's a little different in that they have to be attacking, although it won't hit any of your creatures, so that's kind of nice. Sometimes this gets played in green decks. You know, if they want to take out the fairies, maybe it's a sideboard piece at that point. But more often than not, you're going to be playing two other cards. You're going to be playing End the Festivities, which is a single mana. It deals 1 damage to each opponent and each creature they control. So again, better than dealing 1 damage to everything on the board. This only does it to your opponent's creatures. That's pretty good. And then you also have my personal pick of which one I like more, and it's Electricity. So for a single mana, deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. That's not amazing, but it's something. But you can overload it for just 1 more mana, and now it does it to every creature there. And this is instant speed, and this is sorcery speed, and then the Festivities is also sorcery speed. So I end up liking Electricity a little bit better than any of the other ones. I don't mind spending 2 mana to get that effect, but also still have a 1 mana version of it if I really just need the 1. I still like this, just not for 3 mana. Not for 3 mana, and not when it hits my own creatures. Unless you have Enrage mechanics, I suppose. If you have Enrage on some of your creatures, okay, they need damage dealt to them to have some sort of effect. You still probably have cheaper options than doing this. You could do like an Earthquake, right? Well, Earthquake's not in Pauper, but I think there is like an Earthquake effect though that I can't remember what it is. Isn't there one where like the guy, he's like in the center of like a little crater that he's built. So like seismic something. Seismic. I'm not gonna find it, am I? No, I can't remember. It's old frame. If anyone remembers, so go ahead and throw it in the chat, or not the chat, in the comment section. But there's some other cards that I Tremor. That's what it's called, isn't it? Yeah, that's my boy. There he is. Look at him. Yeah, Tremor. There you go. That's available in Pauper. So Tremor. You should just play Tremor instead. It deals just to the ones on the ground, but still, I think Tremor. If you're doing it in Rage deck, that's closer to what you want to do than Desert Sandstorm. Glad I remembered that. What do we got next? What is our next card? Oh, did I give that a score? Score wise, let's go back for a second. Score wise on this, I hate to do it to a Portal 3 Kingdoms card, but I think it's got to be like a 1.6. Based on all the other things I just showed you, we just have much stronger options. Oops. Oh no. Oh, we lost that green card. I didn't even see what that green card was, but we've lost it now. My bad. Maybe that was really good. Who knows? I guess I'll find out in post, and we can do that another time. Inaction Injunction is 1 and a blue for a sorcery. Detain target creature and opponent controls. Till your next turn, that creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated, and you draw a card. So it's kind of like a stun counter, but it's even maybe a little better than a stun counter, but it doesn't give it a counter, so you can't proliferate it. Detain's okay. We saw it in Ravnica sets. This is an Azorius ability, and it's fine. I don't think it's anything more than fine. 2 mana at sorcery speed to do this. Even though it does draw you a card, I don't think it's quite good enough at all. And we can go with something like a 2.4. No, yeah, 2.4. 2.4. Let's go ahead and do another card. I think we've done a number of bonus cards already, but we're going to do another one. Psychic Strike, 1 and Dimir. So a blue and a black for an instant. Counter target spell. Its controller mills 2 cards. I don't think the milling 2 cards is really all that useful. Not enough to make me want to pay more for a counter spell. Especially when it's a more difficult spell to cast than cancel. You know, if this was just Dimir, if this was just blue and a black for this effect, I think it could be pretty good. You might have to finagle something else that have it jump through another hoop, or it can only counter certain kinds of spells or spells at certain mana values. I don't need a backseat game design, but I don't think this is quite good enough to really go in any Pauper deck. So I think this is like it's still a counter spell, so I can go ahead and give it something like a 2.7, but I don't want to give it any higher than that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye.